let's shift the conversation a little bit. And you mentioned that you guys went to a marriage retreat, and I'd like to ask about difficulties in the marriage and how you handle approaching a conversation when you need to speak to your husband about something that's difficult, something that's going to be a challenge to have a discussion about. How do you approach it? Do you just say, hey, we need to talk, I need to talk to you about something, this happened, this bothered me? Or is it a situation where you say, listen, I need to set aside some time with you, or I'll wait till a specific time or a specific day, or, 'cause some people approach things differently in how they approach issues. Some people like to, as soon as they walk in the door, look, we need to have a conversation. And so how do you approach a difficult subject?
It depends on what it is. That's first.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm a processor, and I use that word because I will try to think things all the way through. Meaning, whatever the issue is, and then, okay, so what type of day do we have? That type of thing. Like, what space is he going to be in? And typically it's by the time I get home, because he's normally already here. So by the time I get home, and, what type of conversations have we had today? He's in a bad mood. He's already had some things going on with work or something with the kids, or, we had an argument this morning about. So I try to process through all of that. And sometimes with me, and I know this may be bad, but a lot of times I'll just put it off. To not have the difficult conversation. And sometimes it's best, it works out for the best that I don't, because then we end up being in a better space, to have the conversation. And sometimes it's not a concerted, like, I don't have to create a situation for us we can be out to dinner and, kind of laugh and joke and having a good time. And, well, you remember, and then I can kind of bring those things up. Or he may bring up a subject and be talking about something, and what I have to say or a question that I had, about whatever the scenario is, it may be related. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of throw it in then, and it's not like, wow, you threw me off with it, mm-hmm. But because we have had some communication issues, as far as a lot of times I tend to not want to light the fire. Like, I don't want to. I know that my husband can be, like, if it's something related to family, like us, the children, our family, our unit, he's very passionate about it, and he's going to go to 100, immediately in defense, whatever it is. And sometimes that is ignited, fire, just immediately as soon as and we both do that to some extent about different things. I sometimes go in Mama Bear zone, and because we have a blended family, things have in the past gotten touchy about, what he's saying versus my thoughts, because we do parent differently. I know that's not the question. I'm probably jumping ahead, but just to throw that in, because that, a lot of times within our marriage, those conversations as it related to our blended family have been most of the hard conversations that we've had to have.
Yeah, and I'll ask you about blended relationships a little later in the interview, because it's an interesting dynamic. I have the same dynamic in my relationship, so I'd be curious to get your input on that. So when you talk about a difficult subject, have you ever gone to bed angry? Everybody says never go to bed angry, and I'm just like, I don't really know if that's realistic. I gotta go to work in the morning,
Right.
And I can't stay up all night.
Stay up all night, and we go back and forth, and it's still no resolve.
Right.
So you're not rested. So then tomorrow, you go to work, you're aggravated. Exactly. And then when you come home, it's worse because nobody's really had any sleep. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you on that. That's not, for me, that hasn't always been the best way to deal with things. So yeah, there's been a lot of times that it's almost like just shut down. Like I need to shut all the thoughts down. I don't want to have another conversation about this tonight. You know, I just need to go to sleep and at least have that peace overnight, and we'll revisit tomorrow.
And I think sometimes when I do that, I wake up and I don't feel like I'm always in the same mood that I was when I went to bed.
Right.
You know, I wake up and I'm maybe more open to having a conversation. The initial anger or emotion that was tied to whatever the subject is, exactly, the in the moment, you know, emotion may have died down a little bit, and I'm in a better space to have that dialogue. Maybe not before I go to work, but I'm in a better space to have the dialogue with my husband about whatever the issue is. So yeah, I'm struggling with the whole going to bed angry.
Yes, me too. Because we do. We've worked, you know, of course, with the counseling and, you know, different things that we've chosen to do, just as a part of maintenance for us, especially now as we've transitioned from having the house, you know, be busy with the children to really getting back to the core of who we are and us together. That's it's a work. It's a work. It definitely is a work.
So marriage counseling, you've mentioned that you guys have done it as maintenance. Do you feel like it helps? And is it something that you thought you needed to do because of issues in your relationship, or just because you wanted to make sure you guys were gonna stay okay? What prompted marriage counseling?
Well, honestly,
I know you had the retreat as well.
Honestly, the retreat was gifted to us. We had friends that had paid to go and ended up having a conflict in their scheduling, and it was non-refundable. And they, you know, we were really close friends, so we you know, talk about various things, and so they knew some of our issues and said, we think that you guys may really enjoy this retreat, and we want to see y'all go and come back and let us know how it went for you. And so honestly, like, that was a major gifting, you know, for us. And my husband, you know, will still say to my friend to this day that, you know, a lot of what we learned in our experience there saved us, you know, because it showed us some things that we thought almost was, you know, this is ridiculous what we're dealing with and what we're going through. And you go and you meet other people from around the world, because there are people from various states there. You know, we're not the only ones that have, you know, difficulties. We're not the only ones that, you know, argue or disagree about things, or with blended families and some of the challenges associated with that. So that was initially, the counseling piece was due to issues at first. And then after we started going, and we would do, like, you know, once a week, and then, you know, it kind of dwindled, and we'd go maybe a couple times a month, and then, well, just once a month, you know, kind of for maintenance, as I said. But it's definitely helped us. It has given us clarity, a little more clarity around me understanding who he is, and from his perspective, certain things that I may say or do, and how those things affect him, how it makes him feel, and then vice versa. And it gives us that middle person to say or hear us discuss something and kind of point some things out, you know, and you receive it a little differently. So it could be something that he said that then she says to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. I gotta work on that. Yeah. You know, or vice versa. So we're definitely, you know, believers in the whole counseling piece.
Did y'all do premarital counseling?
We did, and I would say it was helpful a little, but you don't know until you
go through it.
You know, you there's no way, even though we both been married before, blending the families, we didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know what that was going to look like. And so the premarital, it didn't really give us like that vantage, that view to, okay, this is what it's going to be. This is how you guys are going to live, and with you working and he's working and the kids, and it wasn't scripted. You know, it didn't give us, I say, you know, it really didn't give us the
preparation that you probably thought it would have.
and I expected that it was going to do a little bit more, but we quickly learned after the relocation that it didn't even chip
Scratch
away.
the surface.
Yeah, no, not at all. But I say definitely do it. You know, I'm a proponent of that as well.
It can't hurt.
It definitely cannot hurt, and depending on what your situation is, everybody's situations are different. So, you know, another couple may go and definitely get a lot out of it and learn a lot about each other and expectations. That was a big thing with us. We really didn't set them, and so it played a major role in some of the conflicts that we had, because he had certain expectations of me and I had certain expectations of him, and when they weren't fulfilled,
It caused an issue.
it
But
caused
neither
an
one
issue,
of you had communicated.
but it
if
had
you
not
were.
been communicated.
Okay.